Hey, 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 here we go. Once again, coming here straight from the family, setting it straight with fam. Oh, yeah, you know how you guys do it. You know how you do it. We're talking about them Dallas Cowboys today, and it's going to be something because I got my boy Joshua here today. I got my boy Jordan here today, and we're going to do it like we always do it. We're going to keep it straight because, I be listening to those analysts,
Set it straight.
and they don't do it right. That's why we're here to set it straight. Now, man, that game today, whoo, we're going to talk about, does that game make a difference? Does somebody see it one way? Does somebody see it another way? We're going to find out because today was a blowout. It should have been a blowout. But the most important thing is, did this game tell you something about them Cowboys and who we are? Okay, Jordan, talk to me.
This game was so whatever. It was just whatever. Like I didn't learn anything about the Cowboys. This was to me was a tune-up game. Get everybody, get everybody right. You can let Terrence Steele get out there with some scrubs. I won't call them scrubs, but let Terrence Steele, I call them scrubs. Let Terrence Steele get out there, get his confidence, get his reps, get his feet wet. We've seen that even when they took out all the other starters, who was still left in there, Steele was still left in there, Young Smith was left in there. So yeah, this game really didn't show me anything outside of the Cowboys. I guess leaning on their offense more so than their defense. Like defense didn't get turnovers for us, so I guess that's a good thing. It showed us that our offense has stayed consistent for the past 4 weeks now. So I think it showed us that. I think it showed us that we need to get Cooks involved more, that we need to get Donald involved more. I mean, I guess these games are allowing us to see, some of the guys that we've been saying, hey, they need to get more snaps, and they proved why they should get more snaps in this game. But other than that, I don't think we learned anything new about the Cowboys. So I don't know, Josh, what you think there? I don't know.
I'm with you on that. I think that this is the game to perfect your scheme. This is the game to build confidence in your playmakers, build confidence in your linemen, to support players, your quarterback, defense. So I think overall that's what happened, right? I mean, it was kind of a shaky start with your quarterback and some of the playmakers, but I think they started finding seams and getting things together, right? So, like you said, the Cooks and the Dak and Cooks connection, that was in full swing, full effect. Obviously, Dak and Lamb. It was all it's doing. That's perfecting even more. It's becoming more and more of a Devontae Adams, like as Aaron Rodgers with Devontae Adams, Dak is with CeeDee Lamb, right? People have been screaming to the top of their lungs, "Hey, get Cooks involved. You can't just have one receiver, one great receiver, and a bunch of scrubs, right?" So this is a great time where, like, hey, it's showing other teams, hey, not only is CeeDee Lamb a threat, but Brandon Cooks is a threat. Like, this game was a great game to set it up for, because they're playing chess, not checkers, right? And that's what I like about that. They're like, okay, CeeDee Lamb's not the only person. You got to look at Brandon Cooks. You got to look at Ferguson, right? So those three personnel, they're going to give defenses a different look. Even Dak running outside, right? We're going to talk a little bit more about it later, but the installation of more and more of Dowdle in the offense, right? He's starting to find themes. He's starting to get a little bit more comfortable with it, right? I know that some of us in this room don't share the same views when it comes to that. Not in what you guys think, but in more or less the play calling and the installments on where we want Dowdle to be as opposed to where we want Tony Pollard to be. So, like, in essence, right? This was, as Jordan said, it was a tune-up game, right? So figuring out what your offense and defense is strong in and what your offense and defense is weak in. Yes, by this time they know what the strengths and weaknesses are, right? And now you're making your strengths stronger and you're making your weaknesses or areas of improvement less better. So that way you're becoming more of a complete team. This team has a lot more to go, 110%, and you can see that in this game. But it's games like this that started, and this is what a time to be where you're building your confidence up and you're figuring out where you need to be. And this is great. So I mean, great start for the Cowboys, but yeah, I this doesn't, they're the Dallas Cowboys offense is a good offense. They did what they were supposed to do. They dominated. Now I will say this though. I mean, I know I'm rambling on, but my last thing is this. This is the first time during a blowout in recent history where the offense were scoring the points as opposed to the defense and the special teams. So now you can kind of see more of a maturity aspect with the offense, but we'll see how it goes with future games. So I mean that was my first reaction to this thing.
I also
Oh,
think
go
I
ahead.
also think one more thing. I also feel like this game also showed us, even though we blew them out, that we still have struggles in the red zone. I also think that that's another thing that we still know that they still haven't fixed either. So that's another thing I think. Don't let up on that.
Okay, but playing against the Giants. I don't know where they sit on the table of defense, but you guys were talking about giving more running backs um, chances to play, put them in the scheme, whatever the case is. Um, I was checking out the offense. I was checking out the formations. I see Pollard was moving the ball really well. I know Jordan, you were saying earlier while we was watching the game, you were saying that you hate that formation where they line Pollard up. But today it seemed like it worked. So do you think they found something, or it's just the fact that the Giants allow it to work? What do you think?
Definitely the Giants allowed it to work because that 75% of the time does not work for Pollard running out of the shotgun formation up the up the middle. Tony Pollard can run north and south, but I wouldn't make that like his go-to calling card, him being able to run up and down. I think more so he can do that when the defense starts breaking down and there's a misstep in rhythm. Like he can get up there, but more so outside the numbers, or with the under rolling with left and right between the two tackles. I think is what Pollard should and needs to be doing more of, and bring Donald in there. Donald had a fantastic game today. I think he had like 12 carries. I think he had like 78 yards, somewhere around there. So I think that's what they need to do is just give a mixture of maybe 12, 15 carries to Donald and, 20, 25 carries to Pollard. But this team likes to throw, so I think that's also, going to reduce the amount of carries our backs can get. But then also, yeah, just scheming them well. Yeah, that's what I think.
Well,
I
I
don't know.
heard you talking about it, Joshua, about Donald as well. Do you think this game? Because Donald looked really good. Do you think Donald looked really good because Donald is a really good player, or because it's the Giants?
Right. Okay. So I think Dowdle is a solid running back, right? I mean, if he was a really good player, he'll be like a starter on some team somewhere, right? But while I do believe Tony Pollard is starter level material, I do believe though, and this is just my opinion, I think that he needs not as many snaps as one may think, right? That's not taking away from his ability. I just think that he is a change in pace running back, right? And you need people like Dowdo who can go north and south, who can do power runs, right? Pollard, while he can do some power runs, his strength is finesse, right? His strength is his speed, right? And breaking tackles, right? And if he has more energy to break tackles, you're gonna have more of a running game. Um, and then that way it opens up the play calling and it gets people like CD Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Jake Ferguson, you know, even Tober/Gallup out in the field. So that's what you want, right? So more running plays that are geared specific to their strengths, right? So I'm not trying to say start Donald, but I'm saying, hey, give him a little more snaps to Dowdle, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
in essence, if you give more snaps to Dowdle, you're going to take away organically going to take away snaps from Tony Pollard, which is fine, right?
Right.
But you want a
I
more
get it.
effective offense. You don't
Yeah, I
want
get it.
like yes,
Yeah.
he's paying you, you're paying them, or they're paying him, and that's cool and everything. But you want a more effective offense, and the more effective offense is having both more snaps to Dowdle, and not as many snaps to Tony Pollard, as far
And I
as
can
straight
say
up
this.
run plays.
I
Yeah,
can say
I
this.
just think that.
Hold
Oh,
on,
go ahead.
Jordan. I just want to say when I saw Dowdle run, that boy seemed like he was going through walls. I mean, power. He was doing something today. Even though it was the Giants, those are NFL huge players that he was running against and running through. And those 2 or 3 extra yards, those power runs, I was impressed. So, but I wanted to know what you guys think that it's just something that because of the Giants, or you think that he's able to do that same thing when we play against the other team? All right, go ahead, Jordan.
I think collectively, I don't want to speak for Josh, but I think we all agree that Donald can do that on a nightly basis. We've seen spurts of it all throughout the season where he has. Some of them got called back, which is unfortunate. I mean, this was a clean game for our O line, and I think that speaks volumes for Donald being able to, get as many carries as he did, and because of the run game was working, and so and we were already up, so Mike McCarthy didn't go away from it. So you got to see Donald. It's almost like a preseason game. You got to see Donald get out there and show exactly what he's able to do when he hits the second level. And then it was definitely a change of pace. So he got a more physical guy with more energy come in up the middle, just hitting guys and picking up first downs.
Taking
I
that weight
think
away.
yeah, and I think in the shotgun formation, I think it's better to have Donald, who's probably going to get met with a D lineman or a linebacker in front of him, because more than not, that's what happens. Outside of today, Tony Pollard was able to move the ball a lot, but Tony Pollard is also the reason I think he's an every down back, just not an every situational back. Is because he was able to run up the middle today, run in between those tackles, in between those guards in the center, and pick up first downs. He's not the thumper, boom, over and over again. He's not like a Marion Barber. He's not like
Ezekiel Elliott.
Ezekiel Elliott, where you can just do that constantly until he just breaks one. I think he does more damage, like we're saying, sideline to sideline. I think we need to run more I formations with him. I think we need to run more maybe wing formations with, like, just something different. Just don't have him line up a shotgun every single time. Like, it's just I just
Right.
feel like it's not effective for him as the type of running back he is.
Right. And I see today they was kind of running to the left more today.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
I'm going to start calling this dude. I'm gonna give him a name right now. So when you hear me talking about this, you're gonna know I'm talking about Smith. I'm gonna start calling that dude Vice Grips. So when he grabbed hold of somebody, man, that boy, this last 2 games, now he had let a couple, I think maybe 1 or 2 might have got close to get around that he kind of today. But last week, almost like a perfect game. I mean, when Tyron Smith grabbed you, man, it's like vice grips. That boy take you wherever he wants you to go. It's crazy. That left tackle, we have a Pro Bowler left tackle. That boy bad. That boy,
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with you, but I want to push it out even more. I would call it the Smith brothers, right? Because
Yeah,
those collectively
the Smith
speaking,
Bros.
they are the strength of your O line, right? Both run and pass pro. So
yeah.
I think that you're seeing more that like, hey, they're typically more successful going through those gaps as opposed to going through the gaps within the right tackle and the right guard. Yes, you have an all pro in Zach Martin, but remember, we do have, for now, a struggling right tackle. I think eventually he's going to get it together towards the end of the season, which is great, right? Because that's when you want him to get it together, right? And I think this offensive line is going to be a lot different than it was 5 weeks ago, right? But I think it's going to be better. I should say, but like I think that Mike McCarthy is seeing like, hey, my running backs are tending to be more successful when they're running to the left as opposed to running to the right. So maybe we need to start doing that, especially if we need a shorter yard, a shorter field, getting there because they were going through. But as I said before, this game should not be like a litmus test, if you will, and like where you stand. It should be like, okay, these can be more successful. We're probably not going to get these as much yards as was for the Giants games, but this can be a more successful package because the left guard and left tackle seem to be more successful than the right guard and the right tackle. So in that sense, that's how when you're tweaking your game plan. This is a tweaking game plan type of game. So I think Mike McCarthy's doing that. And he's been pretty good at like changing his game plan up. Like he's not like a set in stone like a Jason Garrett where he's like, all right, this is what we're gonna do from day one to week 16. Right.
Thank God.
McCarthy seems like he's a little bit more fluid. He's like, all right, I'm getting my behind handed to me. I'm like, this is not
Right.
working. Maybe I need to change up. Maybe I need to change these play calls, right? And that's when you see with the motions and stuff like that. So I think they're finding more successful stuff, which is a good thing. So that way it helps them out in the future.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jordan. You about to say something?
No, I agree with everything he said. I mean, I'm glad that Mike McCarthy got away from what he was doing earlier in the first half of the year, because Dak looks like a totally different player. I mean, yeah, even the outside of I guess that red zone blunder that we had, and I guess that's the thing. Like, there's a few things I'll say, oh, it's good job, Mike McCarthy, like calling a timeout when Dak was gonna pick up with the layup game. Like, okay, cool, he saved us on that. But then it's like that first drive, of the game, going for it on fourth down. And I guess the plays that we called on that like second down, third down, fourth down, like I wasn't a fan. I thought we should just took three because we struggle in the red zone. I mean, today we were 6 of 7, so I mean against the Giants. So, but I take account like I put a highlight on that first drive going for it on fourth down, and you couldn't get it done. Like if that's versus the Eagles, if that's versus the 49ers, what does that look like? Like that might change the whole aspect of the game, going as we go further into the game. But it was the Giants, so the defense just recovered, and we had good field position going back down and scored again. But yeah, can't I mean, you
Well,
read everything about that?
yeah. That's good. It's hard for me, like you say, what Joshua said earlier. We can't use this as a litmus test. That's true in a way, but it could also mean that we are finding what we need to do, and when we do it,
Right.
we are successful with it. And because we was successful running to the left, successful putting Dowdle in the game more, give him more touches, not focus on Pollard the whole entire game almost. Turpin was not there, but we seem to be have what it takes to move things. And looking at Dak, and people would say, well, you played against the Giants. But I also say when you played against Philly, your receiver still scored 190 some yards. So are we going to say that we don't our offense is not an offense that can put scores to any other elite defense? Because we see what we did against an elite defense and we lost. We went to a less what you call it, talented. I won't say talented, but they're just not put together correctly. When I talk about the Giants, they're not a great defensive team, but we did what a team who's caliber. I mean, who's capable of putting high amount of yards against someone, against a team like that. So I don't know. It's hard for me not to use this game at a litmus test. So because they're NFL players, man. It's not like we playing against college folks, even though some people might think so. But if our schemes work, it can carry. And I'm waiting to see, even though, and it's hard because next week is playing against the same type of a team with Carolina, right? So
Yeah.
So it's going to be a while before we see something to say, okay, Dallas is ready to go.
So I will say this though, right? Well, I do agree with Jordan that we still need to work in our red zone. But this game, I was just looking at it, which is surprising to me. We were actually a lot better in red zone offense, right? So I think there was only one time where they didn't score in the red zone. And I think that was out of like 4 times. So while yes,
we were 6 for 7.
Like 6 for 7. While yes, they were better at this in the red zone, but we also have to keep in mind that it was against this
inferior.
No, I don't even say inferior. This is against a team that had they didn't have their starters. They didn't have their signature starters. Like you were missing a Dory Jackson, which is a starter corner. You were missing a couple of linemen and a couple of linebackers. Right, one of the linebackers came back from IR, so he wasn't really into the whole entire okay, these are the schemes and everything like that. So you're going to face better teams, right? So you're going to have the
21st ranked defense is what the Giants is.
21st, right? And we're not talking about yes, you have to get through the regular season to get to the playoffs, right? But when you're facing these playoff caliber teams, right, you gotta find ways to get into that end zone, right? And which I applaud Mike McCarthy for this. He's finding different ways to get into the end zone. One of the things is, hey, maybe it's a good idea to target Brandon Cooks. He's going to get you a touchdown. He's going to get you a reception in the end zone, right? It's good to target Ferguson, which is it's because he's starting to catch reception. He's starting to catch balls, right? And CeeDee Lamb. It's not, you don't have to go into the end zone by throwing to CeeDee Lamb. You can have a play that's a scheme for him that he's doing a reverse or he's doing an end around and he's running the ball into the end zone. So being creative in that, you don't have to get cute, right, by doing trickery, but you can be creative in how you get the ball to your players, right? And I think Mike McCarthy is doing that. So, there's some things that I don't agree with him when it comes to play calling, but
Yeah, I know Jordan was really upset with those first couple of series in his play calling, and I was about to say I totally agree because I know Joshua, you and I was going back and forth about the offensive schemes or what in the play calling, and it could be frustrating. You know what I'm saying? But I'll say I wouldn't say McCarthy is horrible, but I wouldn't have hired him if it was my choice. I would have went somewhere else. But I mean, we are winning games. We playing through some of the things that he does, but you were saying this segment which we're on right now kind of give me an intro to what I like to call my new segment of every show. And that new segment is going to be called, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Dak Yabbits. Yes, the Dak Yabbits. See, I know that might sound crazy because here's the thing. Because we played against the Giants and Dak played his butt off, you're going to hear tomorrow with the analysts, they're going to say, man, did Dak play his butt off? Yeah, but. Did the Cowboys did this? Yeah, but. It's all them yeah buts. And it could be a lot of Dak yeah buts. And I'm gonna be ready for it because I'm gonna go to work tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, but you're playing against the Giants. So what do you think about that?
All right. So here's a couple of yeah buts that you're gonna hear. All right. So I wish I had we'll do this next segment where we'll actually have like a chalkboard or whatever. We'll put it down on there, right? So the first yeah buts is gonna be, so Dak had an outstanding game. He threw for 4 touchdowns and ran for another touchdown, right? But then you're gonna be
35
like,
for
yeah,
26, 404 yards, 4 touchdowns. Yeah.
right. So yeah, but he threw an interception, right? He shouldn't have thrown an interception that game, right?
Right.
Against against a defense that's ranked 21 in the league, and some of their stars were missing. He shouldn't have any interceptions, and he said at the beginning of this year he's not throwing that many interceptions. So if he's going to throw an interception against the 21st ranked defense, then what is going to happen when he's throwing it against?
Right.
But so my counter to that is, while he did throw for 3 interceptions against the 49ers, right? But they also did play the Jets, and he threw for 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. Right? So Dak is Daking, right?
Mhm.
So, that's the first yeah, but Jordan, do you have any other? I have another one. I have another one if you know.
What is my Dak yeah, but I guess my yeah, but would be yeah, but you got to play whoever's on the schedule, and that's exactly what we did. That's my yeah, but.
Yeah, but
So
we're going to get it because
So
go ahead, Joshua.
so like my last yeah, but would be, oh, Dak threw for 400 yards and everything, and and he had CeeDee Lamb do 175 and Brandon Cooks 100 or 150 for CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks
173.
170, right? And the yeah but's going to be for that, but like yeah, but it was dink and dunk. But Dak was,
It
I
really
think, number
wasn't.
1 in air yards this
Yeah.
game. I think top 3 in air yards this game. So I don't think that's going to be a case either. So those are the yeah buts, and those are the ones that you can counter, right, with your friends, your coworkers at the water station, if you will,
Water cooler.
at the water cooler. Those are your counters that you can have for them.
Yeah, I'm waiting because no matter how good or how well Dak plays, yeah, but they played against the Giants, man. Yeah, but they played against the Rams. Yeah, but they played against the Chargers. You know what I'm saying? but when they played against the Philly, we lost. But man, he had his way. I mean, he was chopping them up. And this is a formidable defense, right? Like you said,
Yeah.
Joshua, the
Like
Jets.
13.
Jets, formidable defense. So, it's all of these yeah buts. I know it's coming. And just letting you know. Yeah, but okay, let's switch it here. Because we were talking about that offense, and we could be playing Carolina next week. Okay, that's fine. But when we look at what we did today of that defense, Micah Parsons, what do you guys think Michael Parsons, performance today?
Go ahead, Jordan.
Well, I said during the game with Josh and you guys, I said that it just felt like he had like a lack of energy, and maybe there's something he's dealing with internally, or maybe it's just one of those games where it's hard to get up and get excited to play the Giants because it's just the Giants, and your D line is already creating so much pressure with you on the field or with you out on the field, with you on the line or without you on the line. It's just like, all right, I'm just here showing up, create a little pressure here, whatever, just going through the motions. I mean, just don't get injured. That's how I felt like Amika. But I mean, I guess I can't. Well, I I don't know. I think if you call yourself Lawrence Taylor, like there should be like constant disruption in
No
every
off button.
game.
No
He
off
called
button.
himself Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean,
He called
what you're
himself
saying,
Lawrence
there
Taylor.
should
Yes,
be
he did.
no off button.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if
there
that's the
should
case,
be-
if you're holding yourself to that high standard, then yeah. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. So that's my only thing. Like, if you call yourself like the next Lawrence Taylor, and I just want to see that energy. Like, you're a crazed dog. Like, it don't have to be all throughout the game, but you gotta show up, at least once every quarter. But I mean, we're winning the game. Our defense, like he's doing his job. So I don't know. We're good. Like I can't complain because we won. Like we won. So.
All right, go
so
ahead, Josh.
my I wouldn't say counter. I mean, I don't think it's more of a energy or effort issue, right? I do think that is he winning? Is this one of the games where was he winning in his rushing attempts, right? Was he as successful as he was last game, right? I
He
I can't
wasn't.
say I have to look at the last games, right? But was he creating pressures? Yes, right. Creating pressures. I mean, you want sacks. You want sacks and everything like that. I was looking at the games. He was creating pressures, right?
I
But
don't.
what you want
Okay,
for
go
your
ahead.
defensive ends, right? Especially the ones that you claim to be all pro top tier, right? You want them to get home, right? The things like the play like that's what you expect from like a Sam Williams and a Dorrance Armstrong. All right, yeah, they're getting close, right? We just want them to get a sack, but they're creating pressure. So for those type of players, you want that, right? You want the whole like we're creating pressure, right? But they just need to work on a little bit more of their technique a little bit so that they can get to the quarterback. For people like Parsons, right? Your Parsons of the world, your Joey Bosa's of the world, your Watts of the world, right? Your Miles Garrett's of the world. You're expecting them to get home. You're expecting them to get to the quarterback, right? To have hands on the quarterback, to sack quarterbacks, right? So I don't know if this was more of a double team. There were some instances where I was
There
looking
was
at the
somewhere
game
he wasn't. Yeah.
where I'm pretty sure Jordan was saying the same thing too, where it's a one-on-one and he wasn't as successful as he should be, right? So I don't know what it was. I don't know if this tackle if Thomas had his number, right? But I just think that I mean, and I think it's more of a weight issue too, right? You're going against 300-pound linemen, right? And so like I do think, I mean, while you can bull rush, but these top tier linemen, you're not going to be able to bull rush them, right? It's all going to be about technique, right? So he just needs to hone in on his technique, and I think he'll be good for the future games, right? So just think that once they have established another threat, which they do with not Dorrance Armstrong, Tank Lawrence, right? DeMarcus Lawrence, but once they establish like who's who in the zoo for that, and they give more pressure to that, you're going to have more success.
Yeah, I guess my pushback on that is like I personally don't want to see him line up as D line, as a D lineman like at all. I just feel like he's outsized. The way he's so successful in what he does is his speed, right? He's 200. I think he's at 230. I think this season. I think he put on
It's like
some weight.
245. I think he put on like
Yeah.
240 or something like that.
Yeah, and I know players. Listened to players talk about their weight throughout the season. Like sometimes guys will eat like the O line if they know it's going to be a big physical game. They'll put weight on. They'll try to put weight on during the week, and then take weight off if they know they need to be lighter or faster. And just Mika just looks outsized a lot of the times lined up against these DNs. That's why I think he's better off the ball. I would prefer to see him like just, hand out off the dirt, just going in and getting sacks. Kind of like how Demarcus Lawrence did earlier in his career when we played the 4-3. And he was just out there, playing Sam or Will and just getting sacks off, off ball. I think that would benefit Mika more than, because when he's going against those guys, he's going to exert more energy, right? Pushing and pulling and trying to swim, trying to whatever. I think he has good technique. I just think a lot of times he just gets outsized. He's like heavy. He's like in the heavyweight division, and they're like ultra heavyweight. So I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think he's in a lot of snaps too, and also I think he. I would put him on the line if there's stunts, right? The stunts, if there's
Yeah,
stunts, then I'm okay with
Stunty's great
stunts,
with stunts.
right?
Yes.
But if it's just like hats on hats, right? And if you're going against like a Pro Bowl tackle, right? He's going to struggle. Like for some odd reason, Dan Quinn likes to put Mika Parsons next to Lane Johnson all the like for not majority for like a lot of snaps. I don't know why. Right, he's not going to be successful with that, and I agree with Jordan. If you play him off the ball, it's going to be a lot harder to cover, right?
Yeah,
So
then he gets that running head start too, and that's that running head start that that also causes false starts to where D lineman. I think O lineman, if they know his hand is in the dirt, it's like okay, I just gotta get to my spot fast. But if he's off the ball, then they gotta think, okay, where's Mika gonna try to come from, rather than he's right in front of me, right? Sometimes he can get off the ball faster than other times, and may not. But yeah, that's just me personally, and then especially like it doesn't even have to be getting home with sacks for me. I just think that he needs to um sorry. Got the miles ran in here. But he needs to get y'all messed up my whole train of thought. uh like not even getting home with sacks, but getting just causing disruption, whether it be pass deflection, whether it be getting to the line, putting your hand up, or just be yelling, rah with the teammates when they, have get a good sack, just projection, some type of energy that you can see fluctuate. But then it's one of those games where everybody's just, successful at what they're doing. So it is what it
so
is.
I'm going to play the devil's advocate here, and I don't know if this is true or not, but do you think Micah Parsons' presence was causing the ability because of the fact that we're concentrating so much on Micah Parsons, it was giving up lanes for other personnel to get sacks.
No, I believe that. I believe that totally.
I don't.
Because when you got to focus. You got to pay attention where that number 11 is. I mean, so yeah.
But versus this team, I don't think so. Versus the Giants, because I went back and watched the snaps, and they were generating pressures with Mika not even on the field, so they were still getting home and generating pressure. Like D-Law,
right?
D-Law on
And
that
I can
team was
believe that.
just. I think just versus this team, I feel like if Mika didn't play this team, the game would have went exactly how it went without Mika in this game.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
I mean, that is a good thing, but
Wait.
when number 11 on that field, man, people pay attention to where he is.
Yeah,
So, and
unless
I
you're
think it
playing
does.
49ers and it doesn't, he gets squashed. This is it's those type of I guess.
But that's how they lining them up. And that's
I
that
think
wasn't a smart thing.
it's because with the 49ers, right? There's so many things goes on in Micah Parsons' head. Like what makes the 49ers so successful, like they're causing their defensive linemen to think. You don't want your defensive linemen to think. You're right. You want them just to go forward. Now that if you're thinking like, hey, it's a pass and run, right? If they're disguising their play so much, now you're off kilter, if you will, and now you're opening up lanes because now you're just like, all right, Now, like, what's my technique I need to use for? Because there's different techniques you have to use for running, right? And there's different techniques you have to use for passing, right? So there's different techniques, and when they start getting in the mind, like you start to see, like you watch that game. Look how many times that Mika Parson hesitated, and that's what you don't want. And I think he kind of hesitated this game. I don't understand why he understood. There were some times where he hesitated, and they were like kind of sort of on runs. And there was a couple of times where he was kind of hesitated because he was trying to like pick a lane to go, like figure out like what lane is the best possible lane instead of just pinning your ears back and just like, all right, let's go. Right. And the defensive linemen, they're like, all right, this is my assignment. I'm going. I think what's getting to Micah Parsons, he's thinking too much. Right.
Well,
How fun
today
this dude.
today I saw him one play. He actually beat his guard. He got around him, but the quarterback stepped up. I mean, he was there, but like the skin of his tooth, man, quarterback stepped right up and he passed him. But
I mean, that's the thing though. Like, and this is where I agree with Jordan, right? Who else does that? You're muted, by the way. Who else does that, right? Sam Williams does that, right? Your Dorrance Armstrong. You want them to be like you. There's so many. There's many plays, or there's been plays where I don't say many plays. There's been plays with Sam Williams, Neville Gallimore, right? Hankins, Dorrance Armstrong, right? All four of those.
Even Mozzie today.
And sometimes Mozzie too. Like there's been times where you're like,
No,
oh
just
man,
today.
he got
just
past
today.
he got past the quarterback. He was making pressure. He got past the quarterback. And that's what you want for your defensive lineman to create pressure. But for
right.
people like Micah Parsons, right? And this is where I agree with Jordan. You want them to go home. You want them to make that sack. That's the difference between your B plus and A minus rated defensive lineman, and then your A plus, your top tier. Your top tier is always going to find home, go home, right? They're always going to get a sack. They're always going to get a sack one way or the other. It doesn't have to be multiple sacks a game, but they will get a sack one way or the other, right?
Do you guys know where the number of sacks?
I don't even think. I was trying to. Oh, go ahead, Dad. I was trying to figure out, did he even have a tackle today? That's what it felt like. That's what I mean when I guess presence and energy. It felt like he didn't even have a sack today, or not a sack.
He didn't. Which is in essence, that's a good thing, right? Because if you're expecting like a sack from him every game, that means he's playing at a high level, right? But
I didn't mean sack, but I meant tackle. Like it felt like that.
Felt like he wasn't involved.
Yeah, that's what it kind of felt like.
Yeah, so I mean, he's top. I think he's like top 10. It needs to be like top 5, top 3, right? If you want to get paid, he's messing with his paycheck, if you will, right? If you want to get paid like the top defensive end or whatever like that, you need to get more sacks and just like I think he has like 7 or 8 sacks this game. I mean, this right now. I think that's top 10.
Oh, yeah. He actually, I'm looking at it right now. He didn't even record a tackle. So yeah, he didn't get a tackle today.
Okay, but
yeah,
I don't know if he's messing up his money because
I'm like he gonna get paid regardless.
That boy's
he's about to break the bank.
Yes,
I mean, but like of course he's going to break the bank. And I wouldn't say messing up your money like you're not going to get paid.
Like
but if you want it, but like if you want more ammo, you need to get more like sacks. Sacks gets the money, gets the cheddar, right? Pressures wins the game, but sacks gets the money. Fills your bank account, feeds your family.
Yeah, but if I was him, I don't know. Maybe Mika does want to play D line more than he wants to play linebacker, because I think he could cover any tight end. I think he could hang with receivers. I feel like getting picks is another way he can get to the bag. I think that'll help with this offense too, because he's got exceptional speed. We don't see him sit back and read defenses as much because he's on the D-line. I just, and then a lot of times too, when he's playing the D-line, they like to run at him. So that kind of gets him out of, bodies pushing towards him, running him over, not running him over, but, wearing him down. So that's why I think I don't know. I just feel like at this point, I feel like they should, I think that's what made him so great his rookie season too. Is we had him at linebacker and we were just moving him around everywhere. Like
Right.
he was just going home. I just feel like there was
That's right.
more disruption from him when he was playing like that versus how they're kind of scheming him and playing him now. Like, so for him to not be on the stat sheet was, I guess, it's good for our teams, but for me, like that, the Lawrence Taylor of our team, like he needs to be somewhere in this game on the stat sheet, you know, showing,
You should
hey,
see 11. You should see 11 everywhere.
yeah, something
There
like
you go. There he is.
if I don't get a sack, I'm getting half a sack, or he is developing pressure. Like he probably, I don't know how many pressures he had. I don't even feel like that many he had that many pressures this game also. But if I'm not getting a sack, I'm getting combined tackles. I'm dropping back. I'm in the coverage. I'm deflecting balls, whatever. Whatever. I just his presence, because he's that type of player that can play any position in the game. I just feel like, yeah.
You know
That's
who's doing that? Tank Lawrence, which is a good thing. I mean, he was disruptive this game, right? I've seen
Yeah.
there's these last couple of games. There's been games where he's been disruptive. Unfortunately, last game when he pass deflect, that pass went straight back to Jalen Hurts and he just ran it. So
That's
Yeah.
good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we got this game coming up. This Carolina game. Do you guys see the same or something different? Because I don't know where Carolina sits at on their defensive ranking. But
so watching the game last on Thursday. I mean, I didn't look at the all 22, and it was difficult for me watching the game, but I persevered because it was a mess.
For the
It-
Panthers?
the Carolina Panthers versus the Chicago Bears.
Oh, yeah. No, that game was awful. Yeah. I forgot.
It
Yeah.
was a mess, but I don't know exactly what they're seeing. Right? I think this is one of those times where, like, yeah, you can take advantage of somebody like Bryce Young, right? And
They do have the sixth best defense, I would say. They rank 6.
oh,
well, they're ranked 6, but I still like the odds, right? I still like the odds, and I think if Dak uses his legs again and they get the running game open, I think it's going to be a 3 or 4 touchdown game. I still think that I got to look at the all 22, right? But you also got to remember, like, who was the opponent that they were playing against, that Carolina was playing against, right? What are these offense that they were playing against, right? Because if you're not playing, I mean, you are who you are, right? If you're
Well,
playing
I think
against
people were
teams that
saying because their offense, I think, is like 28th. So I think people are saying that if they had a better offense, they'd be more in these games than out of the games.
yeah, I can get that. If their defense is number 6,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
So I will say this
defense
though,
would
right?
need a little help.
Well, I mean, it's a rookie
So
quarterback there.
okay, so I mean, Falcons against Panthers. Falcons won 24-10. Saints won 20-17. Right? Those are like, but you got to remember these are Falcons, right? Their offense is not as strong as it used to be. The Saints as well. Now you get into the Seahawks, right? Seahawks has a pretty strong offense, right? That score was 37-27, right? And you know, they were rushing for 2 touchdowns. Geno Smith threw for a touchdown. So it's 37. So it's to be had, right? And then let's see, that's the Panthers. Then the Vikings, 21-13, respectable, right? And that's with Kirk Cousins, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So I can see why they said this is 6th ranked defense. But then you get to the Lions, 42-24.
Well,
right?
that's the
And then
line.
right after that again,
The
right after
Lions
that
and
again,
defense, Lions and defense, Dolphins are going to be your top tier
Top
teams.
scoring. Yeah.
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't think the Cowboys are that far away from them.
I don't either.
Oh no. Yeah, if you're saying that we're gonna score points on this team, yeah, I think we are. Like, I think it's gonna be another. It should be another blowout. Yes. But yeah, and I think one of the things is, and I haven't delved too deep into it, but just what I've heard the chatter is that the offense struggles a lot putting the defense in bad situations, but the defense overall, they have a stout defense. But yeah, I mean, can they be had? Yeah, I mean, when your offense is bad, it does make even with. I mean, we saw that a lot with our team. Like when
Right.
when the offense is bad, it hurts your defense. Like, it puts your defense in bad situations. There's only so much your defense can hold out before the levee breaks. But we should go out there and whoop on these
But
dudes.
these are one of these games where you don't want your offense to you don't want to overlook your opponent. Like, if you're not overlooking the Giants, you're especially not overlooking the Panthers, right? Because
Right.
I mean,
Panthers
there's been
seem like
times
to
where
be a better team.
where they can throw. There's times where the opposing team threw multiple picks, right? You don't want to put these team in favorable situations, right?
That's
Like,
right.
you kind of got away with it with the Giants. I didn't understand how they got away with it, because that definitely should have been at least a field goal. There should have been points on the board. But I mean, I don't know, that franchise right there. I don't know
I
what
don't
they were
know.
trying to
We
do.
better. All I know is we better not lose to 1-18. That's all I know. Like, we better
Yeah.
not. Like,
So you
it's
need to and man, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you need to do the same thing to them that you did to the Giants.
Yeah,
I know that's
I
borderline
agree.
toxic. It's borderline toxic, but
I
this
think
is where you're
toxic. I
getting
think you're
yourself in.
right. It's not
This is what
toxic.
you're getting yourself in.
Look,
Like,
and I don't
you
even
need
agree
to
with you. Which Giants game you talking about? Because I got something a bone to pick with that.
About what?
He said we gotta do them like we did the Giants. Which Giants game? Not this Giants game.
no. Well, this
I'm trying.
Giants game too. I
Go ahead.
mean, if you this time either Giants game, right? You need to score points. I mean, if you score points, I don't think okay. I don't think the reason why they scored as much points as they did, right? The Giants did, because they had to be committed to the run, right? You're not going to keep on putting the ball into your quarterback's hands who just got into the NFL 2 hours ago, right? So they had no other choice but to be committed to
Dang,
the run.
Vito.
So I think with Bryce Young, they're going to put it in his hands, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so the thing is, what you need to
Picks.
do? Score points. Score more points. Put the pressure on the quarterback, so he has no other time to use. He has no other time but to use his arm, and then that's when you disguise plays. That's when you start to get interceptions and get favorable situations, fumbles, interceptions, pick sixes, and that's how you can drive home. But you got to be disciplined. You got to be disciplined, right? Contain the edge, right? Gap integrity, right? Effort. Remember, edge. What
That's
you got
right.
to do.
That's right.
Yeah, I think I think this game. I think the next game they need to put it all together. That's what I think. I think the next game they need to put it all together. I want a Giants game where our defense play like Giants week 1, and play the Giants week 1. That's what I want to see out of our defense, and I want to see our offense play the Panthers how we played our offense play the Giants today. So I need a combination, a merger of the two, and the special teams too. I need a marriage of the two. Like, I want to see if we want a
That's
Giants
right.
game. I want defense from week 1 versus Giants, and then week 10 offense versus the Panthers. So bring that together, and we cooking. That's all I
Yeah,
want.
I think no foot off the gas this time.
Yeah,
Keep hunting. And I think that's what the Cowboys did this game. They kind of put their foot off the gas, which cost about 17 points, right? I would say 10 points. 17 points was the end of the game. It's garbage yards. I get that, right? Neither here nor there. But if it's if hold it to 10 and get more home on it, right? Make Bryce Young
really.
look like a rookie quarterback. So
Yeah, that's it. But man, them Dallas Cowboys, man, they're looking good, man. I must say, they're looking good. And I know people is going to be talking a lot of nonsense tomorrow, but that's okay because we're going to do this. So, again, here we do. Here we are, keeping it straight, setting it straight on with fam. With my boys, Jordan and Joshua, we're going to be here again next week talking about this game, this Carolina game. And if it's new to you, look to the bottom, hit that subscribe, that like button, and keep it going because we're gonna do what we always do, and that's keeping it straight. Yeah. See you guys later. Yeah.